Working the night shift feels quiet, until you realize how exposed you really are. The empty aisles, the dim lights, the silence. They hide the things you don't want to see. These are 3 true stories of people working alone at night who came face to face with something far worse than darkness. My name is Harper. I work closing shifts at a small roadside bar called the Rusted Lantern, tucked away on the edge of Brook Hollow. The place is nothing fancy, a dim spot where regulars know each other, and the jukebox has been stuck on the same rotation for years. Most customers are locals or truckers passing through. Occasionally, a tourist stumbles in for a drink. I like it here. The routine is predictable, and the tips aren't bad. But I'm always alert. Working nights alone can be risky, especially here, where bar fights happen more often than they should. That's why I noticed him right away. It was just after 1 a.m. on a Tuesday when he walked in. Late 40s, maybe. Clean-cut, well-groomed, the type who looks out of place in a dive bar. He wore a black turtleneck under a long coat. There was something about him, calm, controlled, almost too polished. He scanned the room slowly before walking straight to the bar. Perfect posture, no hesitation. When I approached, he ordered top-shelf whiskey without looking at the menu. As I poured, he asked if I liked working there. It was casual, almost friendly. I said yes. He smiled. Then he asked if I'd ever thought about doing something bigger. The question was strange, but not creepy. I brushed it off with a laugh, telling him I was happy where I was. He nodded, but there was disappointment in his eyes. After a pause, he asked, "What time do you finish?" That caught me off guard. I gave him a vague answer and moved away to clean the counter. He didn't press. Instead, he left a $100 bill on the bar, drained his drink, and walked out without another word. I told myself it was nothing, but something about him stuck with me. A week later, he came back, this time with a woman. She caught my attention immediately. Mid-30s, dressed trendy, but like she was trying too hard to look younger. She leaned against the bar as if we were already friends. The first thing she said wasn't a drink order. She said, "You're so pretty," brushing my arm lightly. Her touch lingered. I laughed awkwardly and thanked her, but something about her felt off. The man didn't speak at all. Strange, considering how talkative he'd been before. She asked questions, how long I'd worked there, my age, if I liked it. It wasn't small talk. It felt like she was studying me. Then she leaned closer, lowering her voice. She told me about an exclusive private club. Fun, safe, exclusive. 10 grand for a weekend. I laughed it off, saying it sounded too good to be true. She insisted it was real. Her smile never wavered. Finally, she said, "Step outside. There's someone who can explain it better." My pulse spiked. "I'm good," I said firmly. Just then, a group of customers walked in. Her smile faltered just for a moment before she turned to the man. Without another word, they both left. That night, I told my boss. We agreed to keep watch. Days passed. I almost forgot, until one night after closing, I saw a car parked across the street. Engine off, no movement, just sitting there. When I drove away, it followed. Every turn, it stayed back. I turned into random streets, but it was still there. Finally, I pulled into the police station parking lot. The car sped off. But it wasn't over. A few nights later, during another slow shift, the woman came back, alone. I texted my boss discreetly. She smiled that same artificial smile and sat down. "I just wanted to check on you," she said. My stomach twisted. I told her we were closing. She pouted, asking for just one drink. I stalled, pouring slowly, praying my boss would arrive. Then, the front door clicked. She was gone. Through the glass, I saw a black van idling outside. The back door rattled. Someone was trying to break in. I locked it, grabbed a metal shaker as a weapon, and dialed 911. Headlights flooded the lot. My boss arrived. The rattling stopped. The van screeched away. Security footage showed two masked figures crouched by the front door, another pounding at the back. The license plate? Unregistered. To this day, I wonder how they knew I'd be working alone.
My name is Riley, and I used to work the graveyard shift at a small gas station called Summit Fuel Stop, just outside Maple Creek. It was one of those lonely stations where the hum of the neon sign is the loudest thing you hear after midnight. Most nights were uneventful. A few truckers, the occasional traveler, and then hours of silence. You learn to love or hate the quiet. That night, the quiet felt wrong. Around 2:30 a.m., I stepped outside to stretch. The air was damp and cold. My breath hung in front of me like smoke. The parking lot was empty. No cars, no people, just the flicker of the sign and the black stretch of trees beyond the road. Then I saw him. He was standing behind one of the pumps. Dark red hoodie, hood up, hands buried in his pockets. No car, no reason to be there. At first, I thought maybe he was waiting for someone, but he didn't move like someone waiting. He shuffled slowly, circling the pump like a predator. I stepped back inside, locking the door, and kept my eyes on him through the glass. Minutes passed. He didn't leave. Then, without warning, he started walking toward the door, slow at first, then with sudden purpose. He pushed inside, eyes fixed on me. My car broke down just past the pumps. I just need a jump, maybe a little gas to get to the next town. I offered to call a tow truck. No, he said quickly, shaking his head. He wanted a flashlight, maybe my help. Everything about him screamed danger. Still, I asked where his car was. He pointed to the monitor behind me. On the screen, a car sat just beyond the highway entrance. But I had just been outside. There was no car. Then on the monitor, I saw it, movement near the car's bumper. A shadow crouched low, hiding. A cold wave of dread hit me. I forced a casual smile. "Let me grab my phone from the back," I said. I turned slowly, heart pounding. The second I was out of sight, I slammed the panic button. The alarm blared, piercing the silence. I expected him to panic. Instead, his entire posture changed. He relaxed, smiled slowly, and looked right at the camera, like he knew this was a game. Then he bolted. I watched the monitor just in time to see both him and the crouching figure run, not to the car, but into the woods. The car sat there, engine off, doors closed. The police arrived quickly. They checked the car. It was stolen, reported missing a week earlier, over 100 miles away. No footprints, no sign of them anywhere. One officer pointed something out I hadn't noticed. The passenger door was open. There had been a third person inside. That was months ago. They were never caught. And I will never work a night shift again.
My name's Jenna, and I work the night shift at Evergreen Mart in Cedar Hill. After months of working here, every night blends together. Same aisles, same hum of lights, same silence. Until that night. It started small. I noticed him while we stocking electronics. He wasn't shopping. He wasn't even pretending to. He just lingered. Every time I glanced up, he was there. Never too close, never too far, always watching. I tried to convince myself I was imagining it. Then my radio crackled and died. Batteries gone. I was debating finding my manager when I felt a hand grab my arm. I spun, ready to scream. A woman's voice cut through the tension, loud, cheerful, almost rehearsed. "There you are! I've been looking everywhere for you." I froze. She didn't know her. She smiled like we were old friends and leaned close, whispering, "That guy's been recording you. Follow me." My stomach dropped. I risked a glance back. The man was still there, phone in hand, staring right at me. The woman pulled me along, keeping up her friendly act. I let her. She spoke loudly, laughing, rambling, like she was saving me. We moved through the aisles quickly. I didn't notice where we were going at first. Then it hit me. She was leading me past the registers, past the self-checkout, toward the warehouse, toward the side exit, the one without cameras. My heart hammered. Something was wrong. I planted my feet. "You can let go now," I said firmly. Her smile didn't fade, but it changed. It was too wide, too forced. "Come on," she said sweetly. "Just a little further." The store was empty. No one was around. The warehouse loomed ahead, dark and silent. I yanked my arm free and ran, screaming for help. She yelled after me. She yelled my name. My name. I never told her. I didn't stop running until I reached another employee. We called security, but by then, both of them were gone. The cameras told the rest of the story. The woman and the man had entered together. His face was clear. Hers was always turned away. The police said it was a failed abduction. I call it a warning. To this day, I don't know how she knew my name. That's what haunts me the most.
My name is Evan, and I work night security at a massive distribution warehouse called Ironwood Logistics, located far on the outskirts of Ravenport. The building is enormous, an endless stretch of metal and concrete, surrounded by open fields and a single two-lane road that vanishes into the dark. Most nights were the same. I sat in the security office watching cameras, did hourly patrols, and filled out reports. Boring, but predictable. At least until the night I realized I wasn't alone. It was a Tuesday night, dead quiet. The hum of fluorescent lights filled the warehouse, and every few minutes the building creaked as if settling. I was halfway through my shift when the motion detector for Zone C went off. I checked the camera feed. Nothing. Just empty aisles of stacked pallets stretching into darkness. I grabbed my flashlight and headed out. Zone C was the farthest part of the warehouse, where the shelves towered above me like steel cliffs. As I walked, I couldn't shake the feeling that the shadows were thicker than usual. Every step echoed. My breathing sounded loud. Halfway down the aisle, I heard it. A faint scrape, like rubber soles dragging on concrete. I froze. "Hello? Who's there?" My voice cracked slightly. Silence. I told myself it was probably a rat or something falling off a shelf. Still, my grip tightened on the flashlight as I moved forward. The beam cut across empty racks and stacked boxes. Everything looked normal, but the cold knot in my stomach said otherwise. I turned to head back, feeling stupid for getting spooked. Then I saw it. At the far end of the aisle, just beyond the reach of my flashlight, stood a shadowy figure. Tall, motionless, watching. "Who are you?" I shouted, stepping forward. The figure bolted, vanishing into the darkness between the shelves.
Adrenaline surged. I ran after it, my light bouncing off the walls. I rounded corners, checked row after row. Nothing. The echo of my own footsteps mocked me. The warehouse was silent again, but the silence felt different now. It felt aware. I gave up the chase and headed back to the security office, breathing hard. My hands were shaking as I rewound the footage. That's when I saw it. On the screen, there I was, walking the aisle. But I wasn't alone. Behind me, just at the edge of the flashlight beam, a man in dark clothing followed. Always just far enough to avoid detection. Every time I turned, he ducked behind a shelf. I watched the footage in horror as he trailed me all the way to the office door, only to melt back into the shadows before I turned around. I called the police. My voice was shaking as I explained. They arrived quickly and searched the warehouse from top to bottom. No forced entry, no sign of anyone else inside. Then an officer called me over to the side door. The lock was broken from the inside. After they left, I tried to finish my shift, but the cameras made my skin crawl. Every flicker of shadow felt like someone creeping closer. At one point, I swore I heard soft breathing right outside the office door. When I whipped it open, there was nothing, just an empty hallway. The next day, management checked the footage again. This time, they noticed something I had missed. In the far corner of Zone C, for several hours before the motion alarm, the cameras caught the same man crouched in the shadows, unmoving, just watching. I quit that night. The thought that he had been inside for who knows how long, watching me, stalking me, planning was too much. Even now, I wake up at night convinced someone is standing in the corner of my room just out of sight. And the worst part? They never caught him. 4 workers, 4 nights, 4 encounters with predators hiding in plain sight. They survived, but only barely. The next time you're alone on a night shift, remember this. Not every stranger wants a drink, a ride, or a friendly chat. Sometimes they want you.